Donnie, we thought we'd get a new segment going this year and give our fans a chance to interact with you and send in some questions in our Cougar Diamond Notes. And I know that's something you were excited about, to give our fans an opportunity to you speak to them directly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd rather speak to them than email them back, and they're the lifeline of our program. So feel free throughout the year, any questions that I can't answer. If they're really, really difficult ones, let me know ahead of time, and I'll send Coach Swenson and Coach Ware. But anything for the Coug fans out there. Let's talk about some regulars, because, with injuries and right-left combination, you're not really sure exactly who's going to start. Big key for us has been our third baseman, Nick TANIELU. He's a redshirt freshman for us. He's played great baseball. He's played unbelievable baseball for us. He played great baseball last spring for us and had a great summer. So he's going to be on the field somewhere, hopefully a third on a daily basis. Trace Tamsing at shortstop. I think Trace, for me, has grown up and made some big strides. And it's neat to watch when players do that. Not just because they become great players. Sometimes you'll see guys grow up that aren't very good players at all, and they became solid. Trace has got a chance to maybe turn himself into one of those great ones. And we had some difficult conversations last year with Trace, and it was some soul searching on both parts to make this happen. And he's done everything we've asked him to do, so I'm really proud of him. And he's a heck of a player, so to have him at shortstop is very important to us. Behind the plate, we got two good ones, SLAYBAUGH and Jones. I mean, they're both really, really good players. We talked to them the other day about, let's put those tools to work. We're not trying to dwell on the past, but the best catcher we've ever had since I've been here is Greg LeGreed. And if those guys get as tough and as smart as he was during his career, a combination of those guys' tools, I mean, look out with those two. That's what types of players they have that we have here in that position. Jason Monda is going to do a lot of great things for us. He's going to play center. He might play some first. He's going to pitch, so he's really, really important. Out in left field, I really see Benny Roberts playing a lot, maybe every single day. Benny's a lot like Nick. Benny was a 7th-round pick last year by the Diamondbacks coming in, and we redshirted him. He wasn't ready to play. He didn't want to hear that. We don't want to have to say that, but a lot of guys, when they don't get what they want, they pout and they kind of go in the tank. And not Benny. I mean, Benny has worked so hard last year. He had a good solid summer in the Northwoods, and he's taken it to this fall and this spring. So we're excited about Benny. Another return, Adam Nebelowitz. Nebelowitz played he DH'd pretty much all the time for us last year. Played third. With the emergence of Nick, he's probably playing the outfield a lot more, and he's really good out there. So at times when we're running Roberts and MONDA and Nebelowitz out there, it's a physical-looking group, all left-handed. Good players, so all high school drafted players, so they're kind of coming into their own. At second base, we got a plethora of guys. Sagdahl, STEMP, DONLIN. All three of those guys are really, really good players. They all bring something a little bit different. STEMP for me is the wild card because he can do a lot. Trek can also go play center field, and he's the right-handed. SHEA and Sagdahl are both hitting left-handed, so Trek kind of brings you that different dynamic. He's going to be a good player for us. I think when he gets strong, he's going to be a really, really good player. He's just got to mature, and his metabolism's going to change a little bit, and he's going to get thicker, and he'll stay healthier. Over at first, real excited to get Brett Jacobs back in the lineup. Brett led us in hitting in 2010, I believe, and then in 11 he got hurt about week 2 or 3, and we didn't hear about it until week 14 or 15. That's the type of competitor Brett is. He just wanted to play. Probably the wrong thing to do because that lingered all year. And then last year, he had a couple surgeries on the wrist, so he wasn't ready. He had to miss all last year, but it's good to have him back. He's a little bit like, and he's kind of a quieter Jared Prince, to be honest with you. He's a diehard Coug, knows how to play games, knows how to win games, obviously a coach's son. So he learned a new position over at first, and we like him a lot. So those are some of the guys around the field that you'll see, throw in Yale Rosen too. When Yale gets healthy, Yale had an unbelievable summer. I talked to 2 coaches last summer, and they both thought Yale Rosen was the best player they saw in the summer last summer. So that's high acclaim considering some of the coaches it was coming from, and coming off a tough freshman year with 25 at-bats and only a couple hits. So those are some of the guys that kind of the prominent faces you might see in the lineup this year. Well, I know, if you look at any team, other than the Giants, maybe when they won the World Series last year, but the great teams, they have that shutdown guy. I mean, you give the ball to him, and the best thing about having a shutdown guy is your team thinks the game's over, and that confidence, it spreads throughout your team. So we're going to give the ball to LECKENBY. JD is in the role he needs to be. He was a setup guy as a freshman. As a sophomore, we started him, and it was actually really, really good for him. It was almost like a pro career, because lots of guys will end up being in the bullpen in their big league career, but in the minor leagues they put them in this rotation to develop their pitches, and that's exactly what he got to do last year in the rotation, develop all 3 of his pitches, and now he's going back in to be a 1-inning guy, and when he's right, it's like I said, it's electric. He's the type of guy that wants to be really good at what he does, and if he can make that move mentally, like a lot of guys we've talked about, if he wants to decide he wants to be as tough as Jeremy Johnson or Adam Conley or Travis Webb at the end of the game, then he's going to be one of those guys that has a chance to save a bunch of games. I think this schedule works out really good for this team. Not that the schedule is an easy schedule. It's not. I mean, open up at West Carolina is going to be a difficult weekend with what they have. But it's nice to be at home a couple weekends against Eastern Michigan and Northridge, and then go on the road and, open it up at Arizona State. The Arizona schools have been traditionally tough to play at, so it's nice to get them on spring break if there's a nice time to get a club like that. But, I think in the last 7 years, our strength of schedule has been in the top 7 or 8, so it's not like we dodge anybody. We always have one of the toughest schedules in the country, and 65-70% of that has to do with our Pac-12 schedule. I mean, this year is going to be, it's unbelievable. If you look at the preseason, some of the rankings, I think one poll, there were 6 teams in the top 18. And some of those teams that weren't in the polls, I mean, you look at Utah this year, they got their whole rotation back. I think they got 6 starters. That's not a team you want to deal with. So, 1 through 11 this year, it's just going to be an absolute bear. And I hope that our non-league schedule that we have this year gets us prepared for a very, very difficult Pac-12 season.